Big Dash knows what?
Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. So for the people that tuned in for the live post reaction, this is going to be a similar video. This is just going to be the shorter version for the people that don't want to have to wait an hour for me to go on a rant. So today, the New York Giants lost to the Chicago Bears 24-20 in a game where the New York Giants were winning in the fourth quarter by 10 points. Yes. And the reason why we were winning by 10 points is because Brian Daboll decided to kick a field goal or to keep the field goal instead of going for it on the half-yard line like another brave coach or any other coach in the NFL would do. Brian Daboll showed us today that he is absolutely folded up his blanket and left the picnic. That's exactly what Brian Daboll did. He showed today that he has no faith in his team by not taking the points, or actually, sorry, by taking the points and not, going for the touchdown, which would have put the New York Giants up 24-10 instead of 20-10. And again, the New York Giants lose 24-20. Yes. Yeah, so the only question now for me is, when is the announcement happening? Is it happening tonight? Is it happening in the morning? That's the only question that I have now. Who is firing Brian Daboll? Is it going to be Joe Schoen firing Brian Daboll? Is it going to be John Mara firing both Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll? That's the only thing that's on my mind right now. Shane Bowen does not matter. Mike Kafka does not matter, because right now it is about what's the best way forward for the New York Giants. Also in this game, Jackson Dart gets a concussion. And the funny thing is, I'm watching the presser after the game. They're asking Brian Daboll these questions, and they ask, when did Jackson Dart get hurt? And he's saying, I don't know when he exactly got hurt. I know exactly when he got hurt. When he was asleep on the field, knocked out, concussed. His head hit the ground. He was asleep. You know how I know he was asleep? Because he didn't even reach for the ball. He didn't even know that the ball was out. He didn't know of a ball because he was knocked unconscious. Good for him. He woke up pretty quick, got to his knees, and nobody noticed, or I should say nobody, like between the refs, other players. I don't know how anybody didn't see that he was knocked out. But again, sometimes when you're watching it on TV, you just have better angles and better views. But before we get to the concussion, let's talk about what happened prior to the concussion. Yes, the New York Giants were successful running the ball with Jackson Dart. Yes, it was working. 2 rushing touchdowns before the injury. But also the passing game was working for the New York Giants. The New York Giants were moving the ball against the Chicago Bears. What down was it when Jackson Dart got hurt? I believe it was second down. You already were successful, running the ball. You were successful passing the ball. You feel like you needed to go to the well again for that RPO play. And this time what happens? He gets hit, bobbles the ball, collects it, gets to the ground. The ground causes the fumble. But they didn't review it. They upheld it, because to me that looks like he should have been down by contact. He had control of the ball. Knee hits the ground before he ends up hitting his head on the ground and being concussed, or I should say knocked out. But we can't cry over spilled milk. No, we got to look to the future. The one silver lining that's going on with this game for me is this. You have another fourth quarter collapse. And to me, the best bet for the New York Giants is to get rid of Brian Daboll. And this loss right here, and I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now, but this loss right here, the way we lost, Jackson Dart getting hurt, this should be the final straw, or you would at least think that this was going to be the final straw for the New York Giants to move on from Brian Daboll. But it does not stop there. No, it doesn't. It does not stop there. Why? Because some people ask, well, why do we have to run the ball so much with the quarterback? Maybe because we don't have enough quality running backs on the squad. Cam Scatterable went down 2 weeks ago, and we're still running out here with 2 running backs. Neither one of these running backs is really a power back, so you're missing that element in your game. The New York Giants had more than enough time to try to find a replacement. But what do? No, they go get Ray McLeod. They go get Timon Fox. They go get other linebackers. They not focus on what's going on. bringing me back to the weapons again. And just a massive amount of mistakes within the roster management. You know who we could have used today? A big body wide receiver. Somebody like a little Jordan Humphreys. But why isn't little Jordan Humphreys on the 53 on Sunday? Because he's out of elevation, right? Out of practice squad elevation. He can't be brought up anymore from the practice squad. Okay, well, why didn't we sign him to the 53 since Bo Collins went out on the IR and Darius Mursal went out on the IR? How come we didn't just sign him to the 50? Oh, the New York Giants don't have enough money to sign little Jordan Humphreys, or they don't want to use the money to sign Jordan Humphreys. And people are telling me, hey, Dash, well, little Jordan Humphreys just not that good. I understand he's not that good, but guess what? He's still better than some of the options that we have. Now, speaking of the options that we have, I was happy to see Darius Slayton do some things today. I was happy to see Darius Slayton make a one-handed grab, right? I was happy to see that, but I was also pissed off because where was this when we needed this 2 weeks prior? I saw him make one of the most difficult one-handed catches, but then he can't catch the ball in the end zone and hold on after he gets two hands on the ball. So yes, I'm happy that Darius Slayton was able to contribute and have a really good game, but it just pisses me off to know that, yeah, you can do that in this game, but where were you the last two games when we needed you to hold on to the ball? And they saying, Dash, you know what? Stop. It's still spilled milk. We can't complain about things that are in the past. I can absolutely complain about things that were in the past. I can absolutely do that. Why? Because it's me, it's how I'm feeling, and I can share how I'm feeling. Like, what are we even doing here? What else needs to happen? What else do we need to see? You don't have any faith in Russell Wilson, so why is he still the quarterback too over Jameis Winston? Somebody tell me that. As soon as Russell Wilson gets in the game, it's all despair. And mind you, when Russell Wilson first gets in the game, guess what? The New York Giants have the lead. The New York Giants have the lead. Now let's talk about the defense. The defense did a good job of getting pressure, but did not finish today. The defense did a good job in the first half of being able to hold the Chicago Bears. Now, I will say this also. There were a lot of big drops by the wide receivers for the Chicago Bears. We got a lot of breaks. And even with all of those breaks, the New York Giants still found a way to lose at the end of the game. Whether it was penalties that called back third downs when the guy should have got off the field. Abdul Carter would have got his first sack today. That got called back because of the secondary penalty. Dexter Lawrence would have got his first sack. And we actually saw the sexy Dexter before we realized there was a flag on the field. And then that also got called back. So Dexter Lawrence gets a sack stole from him. Abdul Carter gets his first whole sack stole from him today because of the secondary calls and penalties. Whether it was Drew Phillips, Cordell Flott, Tay Banks, all these guys committed costly penalties for the New York Giants. But with all that, the New York Giants still had a chance to win the game. So it goes back to what? Being scared, finding new ways to lose a game, which the New York Giants are fantastic at. I wish they could reverse that and find ways to win the game, but the New York Giants find the most fantastic ways to lose. Week in and week out, and I'm tired of it. The whole entire fan base is tired of it. And you know what? Yes, we can't point the finger. Well, we can point the finger at anybody we want to, but no, we can't make a change at the ownership level. But if it was just the ownership, clearly, then, you know, it is what it is. But we can clearly point at Brian Daboll and his decision making. We can point at Shane Bowen dropping Brian Burns in coverage. What do we like? What sense does it make in the world that we live in right now, in the reality of the 2025 season, where you have the sack leader on your team, but you're dropping him in coverage to cover who? Tight ends and running backs. You're treating Brian Burns like a will linebacker, and you're dropping him in coverage. And guess what? He's getting cooked in coverage because he got cooked by the tight end in coverage. But I don't even blame Brian Burns for being cooked in coverage because he's not supposed to be in coverage anyway. He should be attacking the quarterback. But no, you don't do that, right? You put him in a package where you absolutely need a linebacker. And guess what? We're still running out of linebackers. And why are we running out of linebackers? Because we don't have any depth at the linebacker position, quality depth. And who's in charge of the depth of the roster? Outside of, coaching and developing players, who's in charge of the actual people that are signed to the 53? And that's Joe Schoen. So for me, it's over. Joe Schoen has to go. Brian Daboll has to go. Shane Bowen is a given. And yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Dart, we don't know if he's going to pass concussion protocol for the game against Green Bay, and then we're going to run out Russell Wilson against the Green Bay Packers at home. Are you kidding me? And I can't imagine what that game is going to look like. That's a home game against the Green Bay Packers, and I bet you there's going to be a lot of green, a lot of yellow, and a lot of white in the stands. It might be more Green Bay Packer fans in Giants Stadium, or I should say it might be or will be more visitors jerseys in attendance at another home game for the New York Giants when we play the Packers next week. We start this tour in the NFC North with the most winnable game, what I believe is the easiest competition out of that NFC North, and we lay a dud again. And we had them on the ropes again, just like we had Denver on the ropes. We had the Chicago Bears on the rope, and guess what? They still found a way to win the game because we can't tackle, we can't cover, we can't take correct angles. We're getting blocked into the end zone, Tyler Nubin. Just an ugly, ugly game. And then I got to watch Brian Daboll at the post-game presser be Brian Daboll. I don't know this. I don't know that. It's another tough loss. We got to do better. Tough loss. Get out of here. Get out of here. What else do you need to see, Mara family? What else do you need to see? Because I don't need to see anymore. I don't care who the plan. They say, oh, well, if you fire Brian Daboll, who are you going to replace him with? I don't even care who we replace him with now, because nobody cared when it was time to fire Joe Judge. Nobody cared when it was time to fire McAdoo and Sherman. Nobody cared about who that next person was going to be. They can handle that in the offseason. But right now, you got to get Brian Daboll off of this squad, because for all the people saying that Brian Daboll is good for Jackson Dart, today was a perfect example of what Brian Daboll can do for Jackson Dart, and hopefully everybody sees that. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Another tough loss. Let's go.
Yeah.